security's all over here, but it's not stopping these rail fans. We're departing Providence on train 2150, the Acela Express, for a run to Boston. 44 miles on this particular trip will be done in 36 minutes. That's the fastest run I've ever experienced on the train between Providence and Boston. The interlocking here is called ORMS, O-R-M-S, ORMS. In this area here is the Providence Amtrak Maintenance Away Facility. And that was Amtrak Regional Train number 85 en route from Boston to Main Street Station in Richmond, Virginia. This same train back on April 3rd, 2025, struck 3 family members and killed them in Bristol, Pennsylvania. Shut down the railroad for hours. Interlocking here is lawn, like mowing the lawn. And that is the former interlocking tower at Lawn.
Ladies and gentlemen, the cafe car is now closed for the duration of the trip. The cafe car is now closed for the duration of the trip. Thank you for your patronage. A ride with Amtrak.
And this is the recently opened Pawtucket Central Falls MBTA station, opened in January of 2023. And we're passing by the old Pawtucket Central Falls station. It was opened in 1916 and closed in 1959. Quite an eyesore. It's being molded for demolition. The far track is the Providence and Worcester Railroad, the main line which connects its namesake cities. And it will be leaving here at the old Boston Switch Tower that you just saw. That old track was the New Haven Railroad line to Worcester. It was served by the state of Maine and the Bar Harbor passenger trains. And we're about to cross the Seekonk River. That was the Interstate 95 overpass we passed under. And now we're pretty much in the state of Massachusetts. And from here on into Boston, the track is owned by the MBTA. And here's where we start our high-speed running towards Boston. This is the MBTA South Attleboro, Massachusetts station. It was recently reopened. It was closed for a couple of years due to structural issues of an overpass over the tracks. This station opened back in July of 1990. It was the terminus for weekend MBTA service because the state of Rhode Island did not fund weekend service into Providence. They began to fund the weekend service in 2006. The interlocking here is Hebronville. Soon after we pass, we'll start to make a left-hand turn, and once we come out of that turn at East Junction, we will begin 10 miles, 150-mile-an-hour track. East Junction is where a spur from East Providence, Rhode Island comes in. Okay, now we begin the 150-mile-an-hour zone up to milepost 205 approximately. The interlocking here is Thatcher. Attleboro Station. Interlocking here is Holden. A little ways past the Attleboro station was an interlocking called Borough. That's where the Middleborough secondary track diverges east towards Middleborough. It was once used by the Cape Codder trains. Part of that route to Middleborough is now used by MBTA's new South Coast rail service to Fall River and New Bedford. Now you saw a CSX local working south of Mansfield, and you also saw MBTA train 831 en route from Boston to Providence. CSX runs quite a few local trains around this part of the state. The interlocking is Mansfield, and the station is Mansfield. This is a great place to watch high-speed action. And just past the platform here at Mansfield, the CSX Framingham secondary diverges, headed for Walpole and Framingham. And around this location, our 150-mile-an-hour running comes to an end. But for most of the way to Back Bay Station, it's triple-digit speeds. The station is Sharon. We will shortly be crossing over a high bridge called the Canton Viaduct. It was completed around 1835.
Ladies and gentlemen, just a few moments. Next station stop will be Route 128. If Route 120 is your final destination, please stop, make your way to the nearest exit.
And this is the Canton Junction Station. This is where the MBTA Stoughton branch comes in. The interlocking here is called Junction. And we will shortly be slowing down to make our next station stop at Route 128, Dedham Westwood, Massachusetts.
Ladies and gentlemen, now arriving at Route 128. Exit will be on the right-hand side of the train to a high level platform. Please watch your gap. Once again, Route 128 now arriving.
Route 128, wow, I got 11:16. 19 minutes from Providence to Route 128. This guy was hauling ass. Massachusetts Route 128 is a belt highway around the city of Boston, roughly 10 to 12 miles away from downtown. It starts around Quincy, Massachusetts, goes all the way around in a semicircle, and ends northeast of the city at Gloucester. From Route 128, it's 11 miles to our next stop at Back Bay Station, Boston. $21.63, the Mo Money conductor on that one. The interlocking here is transfer. Up until the late 80s, Amtrak and MBTA trains used to go into Boston via the Dorchester line from here. It's used today by MBTA commuter trains from Reedville. It's now called the Fairmount line. Station is Reedville. This is a real hot spot. The Fairmount line for MBTA starts here going into Boston, and also the Foxborough I-495 Forge Park MBTA line comes in here at Reed Interlocking. Station is Hyde Park. A lot will be happening up here shortly. The first interlocking we come to will be Forest, and then we'll pass by the Forest Hills MBTA station, which is a joint commuter rail and Orange Line subway station. And then a little ways past that station, we'll go through Plains interlocking. And at Plains interlocking, the MBTA Needham Heights branch joins the main line. Well, from Forest Hills into Back Bay, we've entered the Trench. This was part of the Southwest Corridor project, which was completed in 1987, which put both the Northeast Corridor trackage and the Orange Line subway right next to each other in the Trench. Prior to that, the Orange Line ran to the northeast a little ways to the east of this right-of-way, and the Amtrak and MBTA trains took the Dorchester line into the city, now used by the Fairmount Line MBTA trains. Well, there's MBTA train 1732 from Foxborough, slowing to make his Ruggles stop. And this is the busy MBTA Ruggles stop, a joint commuter rail and Orange Line facility. This station is near Northeastern University.
Have your attention, please. The next station stop in just a few minutes will be Back Bay. If Back Bay is your station stop, please use the remaining time to gather your personal belongings and head towards the nearest exit. Doors are going to open on the right-hand side. Watch your step when you're training. There is a gap between the train and the station platform. Once again, Back Bay. Back Bay will be next.
This is the infamous Back Bay Tunnel. Shortly, you'll see MBTA train 835 en route from Boston to Providence. And if you listen closely, you'll hear ventilator fans, which help suck out diesel fumes from this tunnel. Sounded like one of those things going by. Believe it or not, I'm going to make a dedicated video on those HSP 46s. I probably got nearly all, if not all of them, They have 40 of them. Back Bay, Boston. Not Back Bay and Boston. Back Bay, Boston and South Station, Boston. I got 11:26.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next and final station stop in a few short moments will be Boston South Station. Once again, folks, our next and final station stop in a few short moments will be Boston South Station. At this time, we ask you to please double check all your personal belongings, double check all your seats, overhead luggage bin. If you need to use the restroom, please do so now. Double check for all your outlets, chargers, laptops, coats, hats. Do not leave anything behind. Our next and final station stop will be Boston South Station.
Better not be New York.
On behalf of the New York crew, we'd like to thank you for choosing Amtrak as your port of transportation. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Well, we made it from Providence to Back Bay Station, a distance of 43 miles in 29 minutes. The interlocking here is Cove. The two tracks at the far end before the highway is the MBTA Framingham-Worcester line. Train 173 departs Boston for Washington at 11:40. I think we're going to be in South Station ahead of them. But hopefully we'll see 173's equipment sitting in the station, which will be piloted by the Walpole Whirlwind. He's a fifth-generation railroader. Wouldn't be surprised if every one of them were from Walpole. That's a town in the suburbs. It's on the Franklin Forge Park Foxborough line. Red Sox manager Joe Morgan hailed from there. Unfortunately, the Walpole Whirlwind engineer was off today. He's currently in training, learning how to run the new Acela trains. Oh no, here it comes. 2033. God, that thing is filthy. And that's MBTA train 735, bound for Forge Park, I-495. Well, that guy's going to Forge Park. And as we approach South Station in Boston, this labyrinth of tracks is Tower 1 interlocking. Well, this was definitely the fastest trip I've taken on this train to Boston. We've usually been a little bit late when I've ridden it. This time we might actually be 10 minutes or more ahead of schedule. Here's 173 right alongside of us. So there's somebody in there. See if I can say hello to him.
Driver now arriving into Boston South Station. Exit will be on the left-hand side of the train to a high-level platform.
We're 12 minutes
Please watch
early.
your gap once again. Enjoy the rest of your morning. Boston South Station now arriving.
Well, here at South Station, they opened up a new wing at the end of the platforms on the east side, and you'll see a strange couple of destinations on there. The 12:10 p.m. train, 1917, Fall River and New Bedford. That service started just weeks ago. As it ran down there, 1959. I dropped my wallet. Yeah. Fall River and New Bedford. We'll explore those two lines tomorrow. Well, here's the old South Meeting House in downtown Boston. Today's April 15th. It was on this date back in 2013 that the marathon bombings took place. And everywhere I walk, I see Boston Strong. There's a lot of t-shirts that say Boston Strong. Indeed, Boston is a strong city, strong heritage, strong on democracy. And when you got Irish blood in me like I do, when you go to one of the greatest Irish cities in the world, Boston, Massachusetts, and you're a Red Sox fan, what's the perfect meal to eat when you're in this town? Well, there it is. Chowder and Boston baked beans. This is the Beantown Pub, folks, downtown, right across from the Paul Revere Cemetery and near Boston Common. I highly recommend this place.